But sometimes it's because these younger parts of us that haven't healed fully are searching out relationships that feel similar to ones that we've had in the past. And that oftentimes they get attracted to people who might have wounded us because they're hoping that this could be the redo. This could be a way to heal those wounds if we can have this relationship go differently. That these parts are looking to heal through the relationships. And that's a tough place to go because oftentimes if we are being attracted to or drawn into the circle of people who repeat those wounds, it just leaves us in a way like stuck in that place in the past. Hi, I'm Biz Cush, a life coach and therapist and your host here on the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. We're talking to women all over the world who found their way back to themselves, to their inner knowing, to their intuition, to their wisest self. We're exploring how to feel alive, authentic, engaged, and fully present in your life. Let's awaken your wise woman. Hi, and welcome back to the podcast. I am Biz Cush and the host of this wonderful podcast, Awaken Your Wise Woman. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad you're back for another season of the podcast. It's going to be a good one. Lots of good guests, as I said. But if you want to be informed about all the new episodes coming up, you can either subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Would love to have you leave a rating and a review if that aligns with you. But you can also just subscribe or follow the podcast there, and you will get all the new episodes delivered to your phone or your device. You can also sign up for my newsletter because I send out the new episodes twice a month. And you can get on the newsletter at elizabethcushcoaching.com/sign up. You also get to know all the news about my coaching and what offers are available. So sign up there. And I'm really excited about this new season, season 4. We've got some amazing guests coming up and wonderful topics to explore. And this week, I've been thinking a lot about friendships and finding new friends in midlife, finding new friends as women. There have been, interestingly, a lot of conversations in my circle of friends, my circle of business associates, about how do we make friends as adults or even as therapists in particular, when so much of our job is spent alone, one-on-one with our clients, and being an online therapist and an online coach, so much of my time is spent at home alone, of course, with my dog Elvis, but I have struggled to make new friendships in really more in person. I have a lot of wonderful friends that I've made over the last couple of years online, which is amazing. But sometimes friendships and partners and our acquaintances shift and change over the years. And part of that might be through your own healing and growth. Part of that might be circumstantial, like maybe you moved and went to a different place and now your friends are not nearby. Some of my struggle is a good friend and my sister are in different time zones. So talking to them regularly can be a challenge because we're so many hours apart. But I think what I really wanted to explore was why it is sometimes we find we need to move away from a friendship or a partnership in our lives when at one time it felt just right. At one time it felt enough. I've also heard from clients and friends some confusion around why was I attracted to this friend or partner who really was not good for me? Like, what draws me to people like this again and again? And I know that can feel very confusing, especially if you're working to take better care of yourself and be in relationship with people who do nourish and nurture you. But sometimes it's because these younger parts of us that haven't healed fully are searching out relationships that feel similar to ones that we've had in the past. And that oftentimes they get attracted to people who might have wounded us because they're hoping that this could be the redo. This could be a way to heal those wounds if we can have this relationship go differently. That these parts are looking to heal through the relationships. And that's a tough place to go because oftentimes if we are being attracted to or drawn into the circle of people who repeat those wounds, it just leaves us in a way like stuck in that place in the past because we keep feeling those wounds again and again and again. And the people aren't changing and they're not supporting us in the way we had hoped and they're not giving us what we need. Those parts, especially giving those parts what they need, which then activates all the other parts, the defensiveness, the angry parts, the pissed off parts, the parts that want to just use substances or dissociate or use other means to not feel the pain of that relationship. A good example of that is if you grew up in a home with emotionally unavailable parents, you may be drawn to partners or friends who are also emotionally unavailable. So this constant striving to be seen, to be heard, to have your feelings validated just don't happen. And the wounds continue to accumulate and the defensive strategies and protective parts of us get more activated, and it just leaves us in this cycle of not healing. And what I've found through my own work and through conversations with clients and other therapists and other healers is that what our wounded parts and our childlike parts really need is for that love and care and that healing to happen within us. That we get to do the redo. We get to meet those parts that wanted love or validation or their emotions accepted and held and met with compassion. That can come from us. That redo can happen within our own system of parts and ourself. Healing those relationships, healing the hurt. If we can meet those parts with care and compassion and kindness, and the parts that protect them, the healing can begin. And I know I have parts that just want the healing to happen fast. Let's get this done. Let's make it happen. Let's feel better. Let's move on. And oftentimes it takes time because those wounds have developed over years, and some of the wounds we've held with us for our whole life. And so sort of peeling back the layers, working with the parts that have developed to protect those wounds takes time and gentleness and patience and consent from those parts that have been protecting the wounds for such a long time. And oftentimes as we unfold and untangle what's been happening over the years and years and years, other parts show up and different wounds. And so it is a beautiful unfolding process, and it's not always linear. It's not always quick. And it happens. And it's lovely and beautiful. And that healing can happen in relationship with yourself, but it's also super important to have someone there as a supportive presence because it's hard to do the work on your own. It's really hard. So having a guide, a coach, a mentor, a therapist that can be with you in that process is really important. It just gives us that space to be held on a deeper level, I guess, and to be seen in that healing, which is amazing. And as we heal and grow, sometimes the relationships that we're in that maybe weren't as healthy for us, those change and shift too, because we're in a different place. And probably our needs have changed because we are in that different place. If we're taking care of ourselves, we're no longer looking to others to heal those old wounds, those childlike parts that we've carried for a long time. And that can be hard too, if some of those friendships fall away. And some may deepen. Some friendships may deepen, or new friendships may appear and develop because of this new space that you're in. But when they do fall away or transition, that can be really hard. I know grieving relationships that no longer meet our needs is real. But when we can see the unhealthy patterns that we were repeating, or the unhealthy relationships that we continued to be drawn to, if we can see them with a more compassionate eye to say, okay, that friendship has shifted and changed, and can I meet them in a new place? Can I meet them from this place, from my heart? And if you're meeting them from this new place, from your heart, and they can no longer meet you there, maybe it's time for that relationship to change, to shift. And that could be so, so scary, especially in midlife. Losing a friendship is really hard, because to develop those lifelong friends can be a little bit scary. So be gentle with yourself around this process. It's really, really important. Be gentle. I know that I'm in a phase of bringing forth or manifesting or being open to new relationships, new friendships with women. And it's interesting how that's developing. Some old friends are coming back into my life in new ways. And some friendships that I considered almost peripheral or maybe business relationships are developing into more personal relationships. And I look forward to continuing to see this process unfold and untangle. Well, if you want to know more about the guests on the podcast, or to be informed when new episodes are live, you can sign up for my newsletter at elizabethcushcoaching.com/sign up, all one word. You can also follow me on Instagram at Awaken Your Wise Woman. I'm on Instagram and always posting the new episodes that are coming and little audio clips of those interviews, and that will continue to happen. So you can follow me there and get the updates. You can sign up for the newsletter to get all the news and when new groups are starting or coaching offers are available. And if you just want to know more about working with me, that's where to go. ElizabethCushCoaching.com. Well, I hope you and all of your parts have a wonderful week. And I look forward to connecting with you here on the podcast next time. Thanks for listening to the Awaken Your Wise Woman podcast. The information in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. Music by Andy Cush. sound editing by Laura Disler, and show notes by Kathy Cush. If you'd like more information about me, Biz Cush, and the resources shared today, go to awakenyourwisewoman.com.